Home with God, Chapter 9. There are no victims, and there are no villains in the world. This is a striking example, a wonderful, stunning example of how, when you live your death well, you let others live with your death well. I hope when I die that I can do it as gracefully as Pip. Having had the conversation we are now having will make a big difference. Knowing that you are dying because you choose to die will be a big help. Everyone dies when they choose to die? Pip chose to die when she did? Terri Schiavo died the way she wanted to die? Well, you know about Pip because she actually said when she chose to die. She said she wanted to bring in the new year. Yes, but did she want to get cancer at that stage in her life? Did she really want to leave that early? Something like this would be really hard to accept by her husband, her children, and members of her family. They would ask, with deep sorrow, I am sure, why would Pip want to leave us like that? I have an answer that may shock you. What is it? Later. We need to talk about this later. There is much groundwork to be laid first. Then the answer won't shock you quite as much. Well, whatever the answer is, I am sure that members of Terri Schiavo's family have the same question. They too, I feel sure, would reject out of hand this notion of pre-choice in the matter of the timing and end manner of one's death. No, most people would say, that is not my experience, and that was not the experience of Pip or Terri either. I know you said earlier that souls leave their body only when their work is complete, and that this should therefore be a time of celebration. But a soul's leaving the body can still be very sad for the people left behind in the physical world, and telling those people that their beloved actually chose to leave could make it sound as if that person no longer wanted to be with them. And, well, that would be very hurtful, it seems to me. I know a woman whose husband died when he was very young. The woman carried the sadness of her loss for many years, but the real loss was felt by her young daughter. She never got over the loss of her father, and in fact remained angry with him to the very day for leaving. She does not understand why her father would do that, and if I told her now that no soul leaves the body when it doesn't want to, and that every soul causes his or own death, and actually wants to die at that time, it would wound her even more. Unless she understood that he may not have consciously known what he wanted. That is not the surprising answer I am going to reveal to you later, but it is an important thing to consider as a possibility now. I don't understand. What do you mean when you say that a father may not have consciously known what he wanted? I thought you've been telling me that everyone is the cause of his or own death, and no one dies against their will. Perhaps it will help you to understand that human beings create and also know what they know at 3 levels of experience: subconscious, conscious, and superconscious. Remember that I said, when you die, it is impossible to not be complete, but it is possible to not be consciously aware of this. A soul can know at the superconscious level that it is complete for this lifetime, but not be aware of that at the subconscious or conscious level. These three levels of experience were mentioned in an earlier dialogue that we had, which became the book Friendship with God. I found it utterly fascinating. At this juncture, it is more than fascinating. It is important to understand so that your questions can be answered. Then let's go over it again. What are the three levels of experience? The subconscious is the place of experience at which you do not know about or consciously create. Your reality, you do so subconsciously. The subconscious is the place of experience at which you do not know about or consciously create your reality. You do so subconsciously, that is, with very little awareness that you are even doing this, much less why. This is not a bad level of experience, so do not judge it. It is a gift, because it allows you to do things automatically. Like what? What do you mean, do things automatically? Functions such as growing your hair, blinking your eyes, or beating your heart are examples of things that you do automatically. You don't sit down and think, I've got to blink my eyes, I've got to grow my fingernails. These things occur. Your entire bodily system operates itself without specific conscious instructions from you. The subconscious also creates instant solutions to problems. It checks incoming data, then goes into memory bank and comes up with rapid-fire responses to a myriad of situations, again automatically. If you touch a hot pan, you don't have to think about moving your hand away. You jerk it away in a split second. This is an automated response based on prior data. The subconscious can save your life. Yet if you are unaware of what parts of your life you have chosen to create automatically, you could imagine yourself to be at the effect of life rather than at cause in the matter. You could even create yourself as a victim. Therefore, it is important to be aware of what you have chosen to be unaware of. The conscious level is the place of experience at which you know about and create your reality with some awareness of what you are doing. How much of which you are aware depends upon your level of consciousness. This is the physical level. When you are committed to the spiritual path, you move through your life ever seeking to elevate your consciousness, or to enlarge the experience of your physical reality to include and encompass what you know at another level is true about you. The superconscious level is the place of experience at which you know about and create your reality with full awareness of what you are doing. This is the soul level. Most of you are not aware at a conscious level of your superconscious intentions, unless you are. The superconscious is the part of you that holds the larger agenda of the soul, which is to move to completion in what you came to the body to experience and to feel. The superconscious is constantly leading you to your next most desired growth experience, drawing you to the exact right and perfect people, places, and events with which to have that, so that you may achieve the combination of knowing and experiencing that will produce feeling, creating awareness of your true being. The last time we talked about this, I asked if there was a way to set the same intentions on the subconscious, conscious, and superconscious levels at the same time. And there is. This 3-in-1 level of consciousness is called the supraconscious. Some of you also call it Christ consciousness or elevated consciousness. You can all go to this place. Some people do it in meditation, others in deep prayer, others through ritual or dance or through sacred ceremony, and others through the process that you call death. There are many ways to get there. When you are in this place, you are fully creative. All three levels of consciousness have become one. You are said to have it all together. But it is really more than that, because in this, as in all things, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Supra-consciousness is not simply a combining of the subconscious, the conscious, and the superconscious. It is what happens when all are combined and then transcended. You then move into pure beingness. This beingness is the ultimate source of creation within you. You may experience this before your death or after it. I assume this is how a living master creates. Yes. Then can a master ever be surprised? For a person of continually elevated consciousness, outcomes and results are always consciously intended and never unanticipated. The degree to which an experience appears unanticipated is a direct indication of the level of consciousness at which that experience is being perceived. Remember that I said, perception creates experience. The student of mastery is one who always agrees with the experience she is having, even if that experience does not appear favorable, because the student of mastery knows that she must have intended it at some level. That knowing is what makes it possible for one person to be utterly peaceful and together during circumstances that another would find very stressful. What the student of mastery may not always see is the level of consciousness at which the experience was intended. Yet the student of mastery has no doubt that at some level he is responsible for it. It is precisely this knowledge that places him on the road to mastery. Earlier you asked if Pip wanted to die, if she caused it, and I replied, not on a conscious level. Now you know what I mean by that statement. All decisions affecting the human soul are made by that soul at one or more of the three levels of consciousness, or at the fourth level, the supraconsciousness level. Pip chose the period of her life within which she was going to leave her body, as do all souls. In her case, this decision was not made at the conscious level. Then, having made that larger decision superconsciously, Pip consciously chose the precise day and time of her departure, moments after midnight on January 1st. Just after bringing in the new year. You can know that this decision was made at the conscious level because she announced it in advance. She was totally aware of what she was choosing, and she created it. Perhaps something like that was true about Terri Schiavo. Maybe she did not consciously choose the earlier events of her life, but maybe things changed when after those initial events Terri was said to have lost consciousness. Maybe Terri had not lost consciousness at all. Maybe she shifted her consciousness. Maybe she found herself at a different level of consciousness. First, at the superconscious level, where she became fully aware of what she was creating and why. And then finally at the supraconscious level, where having completed what she came here to complete, she achieved absolute awareness of her intrinsic unity with the divine. I believe that Terry Schiavo used her life to invite the people of the world to move to a new level of inquiry about matters of life and death, and soul and God, and about what actions are of benefit to humanity in cases such as hers. I believe that Terry Schiavo at a spiritual level was never ever a victim of her circumstance. I believe that she knew during those final years exactly what was going on, and allowed herself to be subjected to it in order to draw global attention to herself for the good of all humankind. I believe that Jesus did exactly the same thing. Am I right about Terry? It would be profoundly intrusive and inappropriate for me to reveal the inner superconscious or supraconscious workings of this individual's mind. This much can be said, however, and I have said it many, many times before, about all human beings. There are no victims, and there are no villains in the world. Well, this is the third or fourth time you've made that statement in this conversation alone. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. The idea of no one being a victim is something just emotionally difficult for people to accept. You observed before that this is because most people are looking at life situations from the very limited perspective of normal human understanding. But how can those of us who seek to raise our own consciousness and to assist in helping to raise the consciousness of humanity hope to enlarge that understanding? Speak to humanity of the tools of creation, thought, word, and deed. These are the devices with which you create your micro-reality. These tools are perfect. They are magnificently effective. What you think, what you say, and what you do creates the experience that you call you, and the conditions and circumstances of your life. It is as I said before, if you think that you are a victim, say that you are a victim, and act as if you are a victim, you will experience yourself as a victim in spite of the fact that you are not. The same will be true when you decide to label the experience of others. If you think that another is a victim, say that another is a victim, and act as if another is a victim. You will experience that other person as a victim, in spite of the fact that he or she is not. Do you experience Terry Schiavo as having been a victim? Perhaps you do. Was Terry a victim? No. It is impossible to be a victim of circumstances you create. Always remember that. It is impossible to be a victim of circumstances you create. Therefore, to be a victim of circumstances, you must swear that you did not create them. This tells a lie about you. You create all of the circumstances of your life. If you create them at the conscious level, you will be aware of it. If you create them at the subconscious or superconscious level, you may not. You will have created the circumstances nonetheless. All masters know this, which is why no master ever points a finger at another person and says, "You did this to me." Yet you may experience whatever you choose. You may experience what you have come to know about who you are as a result of your life in the spiritual realm before your birth. Or you may experience something other than that. something less than that. In this, as in all matters, you have free will. This brings up yet another question for me. Is there consciousness before birth? And from what you're saying here, the answer seems to be yes. So we are aware of ourselves before we're born. Oh, yes, long before. The you that is you has been aware of itself forever. We will talk more about this later, when we explore in more depth this matter of birth. For now, simply know that you have always been. You are now, and you will always be. When you are born, you simply disintegrate. I what? You disintegrate. You cease being integrated. You cease being singular and divide yourself into three parts: body, mind, and spirit. Or what could also be called subconscious, conscious, and superconscious. Oh, so that's the correlation. Loosely, yes. Broadly, yes. It's not an exact, minutely precise correlation, but it paints the picture in broad strokes. In this Holy Trinity, God in three parts, your mind is where your conscious activity takes place. Therefore, think only what you choose to experience. Say only what you choose to make real, and use your mind to consciously instruct your body to do only what you choose to demonstrate as your highest reality. This is how you create at the conscious level. Look at this closely. Is this not what every master has done? Has any master done more? No. In a word, no.